All right. Sorry, that was probably a little loud, Travis. Episode 3, Extra Point Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Should we say our names? Whatever. Timothy, Travis. That's your name, I think. I mean, we're 3 episodes into this thing. We've been friends for a few years. I
sure hope it is.
Yep. Again, to all the people out there, we're freeballing it, so we're just gonna kind of, I don't know, freeball it. How was your weekend?
Pretty good. Parents came in, went and celebrated the late birthday weekend with them.
That's right.
Grandparents, and lost about $20-$30 on dog races, but happens. The casino takes the money sometimes, and sometimes you take the money from the casino. But
that's the beauty.
Exactly.
That's the beauty. That's the joy of life. I take it you saw a lot of Justin Fields.
I did. We watched majority of that game. You know what? He looked very comfortable, and that was one of my points of when we talked last. Is how does he look? Does he look comfortable? Was my main thing. Yeah, he sure looked comfortable.
Oh yeah.
I would say it took him a couple of drives to probably get used or get into the rhythm of things, because he did have 3 drives without a first down to start off and everything. But then once he really settled in, he looked very, very impressive for first showing.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know it didn't really help. I think the offensive line got called for a couple false starts on the second drive or whatever, something like that. But yeah, he started to get. I mean, towards the end of the first half, I think they got that field goal drive. They ended on the field goal before the half or something, and then they really got the gears going in the second half. And he was 14 of 20 for
14 of 20 for 142 yards with a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown.
And as a bonus, they just signed Jason Peters. Oh my gosh. Dude, that's just, I mean, he's old, but he is a 9-time Pro Bowler. How can you not say no to that?
That's a great veteran to add to a depleted, I should say, depleted offensive line that the Bears have right now. So that was a great signing. Well, even if he doesn't play, it's I didn't see what the deal was. I just saw that they signed him.
Maybe like a 1-year kind of thing. I mean, him and Nagy. I mean, Nagy was in Philadelphia, right? At some point. I mean, he knows Jason Peters well.
Yes,
I think.
Yes.
Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, I saw there was a picture of Doug Peterson at training camp or something. I think Nagy brought him in. Well, I saw him with the Bears. I think it was maybe for a day. He was over there with Nagy coaching. I don't know if he's. I don't know if he's there. I don't know if you saw that. I saw it.
He must be bouncing around teams. I don't know what he's officially doing, but I saw him with the Colts as well. With Frank Reich over there.
Yeah, I mean, the familiarity. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he went to Kansas City. I mean, they probably don't even need him, but the familiarity with a Frank Reich, who was his quarterback coach, the Super Bowl, Nagy, Kansas City, Andy, they all have that connection. So that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, Justin Fields looks like the guy. I mean, I said it dude. As you know me, as a Packer fan, I was saying to myself, oh, God, he's still there. Please, just take a defensive player. In the draft, I was just praying that they wouldn't take him, and they did. And he's going to be a freak. I mean, again, if they can find a way, I think David Montgomery is when I look at teams, you want to have the guy at a position. And by the guy, I don't mean a savior. I don't mean that. But I do mean a guy that can rush for over 1,000 yards, a guy that has proven that he can play. David Montgomery is the guy. Allen Robinson is the guy.
The guy.
Jimmy Graham, the tight end position is interesting because I don't think they have someone who's in their prime, but they have guys at different positions. So Jimmy Graham is he mid-30s, 34, 30, 33?
Somewhere around there, yeah. He's getting up there in age.
So he did have 10 touchdowns, right? Last year, I think he had the most touchdown receptions on the team. So he can still play, obviously. But he's not like New Orleans Saints, Seattle Seahawks, Jimmy Graham. But But then you have a guy like Cole Kmet who's coming up here. He was a rookie last year, or was his second year in the league?
He was a rookie last year.
Okay, so he made some plays. He's going to learn from Jimmy Graham, which is great. It's kind of like Mercedes Lewis, Robert Tonyan comparison.
And he attended tight end U. So he was with George Kittle and Travis Kelce and all them for the offseason. So
and you add in a guy like Jesse James. You had Jesse James in there, who's the guy who played on a winning team with the Steelers, and he was in Detroit, so he knows the division well. That's a quality signing, I think. Yes. So it's gonna be interesting, man. We'll see. Like, you're gonna hear it from Bears fans and sports radio in Chicago this season. If they start off, I think it's interesting. Like, if they start off 2-0 or 3-0, like, what happens? It's like, hey, let's just because I know they're gonna ride with Dalton, obviously, but it's like when they get to say they start off. Heck, from the get-go, everyone is saying right now, let's go. Let's put in Justin Fields. He should be the starter, but at the same time, it's Nagy and Pace are like, okay, let's, Dalton's our guy for the time being, for week one at least. So, I mean, this is a dumb question, but say they start off 3-0, like are you going to be like, yeah, okay, let's just keep it until they slow down or something, like keep Dalton in there until something bad happens, that kind of thing?
Like I said last episode too, it's the veterans to lose.
Yeah.
Once they have their slip up, everybody's going to be going after them. But hey, if he's getting the job done and he's winning games, why switch when he's winning games? Yeah. Then it takes away from the entire team's morale.
Yeah, it's a game of runs. That's what they say in the NBA anyway. It's a different sport, but it's a game of hey, who's okay. It's different if you have Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. That's not really about who's hot. But when you're a team that's kind of looking for a spark, it's like, okay, if Dalton gets us to 3-0, let's just ride with him until something bad happens. But yeah, Justin Fields is the guy, no question about it. Should we move to my team?
I was gonna say, what do you think about Love?
I hate him. No, I'm kidding. I'm hilarious. No. Look, he was very good. I think I saw a tweet from Packers reporters like before the game saying like, it's a shame because whatever Jordan Love does, he's going to get critiqued all around the country, all around the world, whatever sports media outlet there is, they're going to talk about him, what he does. And he held together pretty damn well. I thought, okay, he was like, I think Fields for the first few drives, couldn't get anything going. And then there was a 3rd and 9. Right down the seam. They were kind of closer to their own end zone. But he found Jay Sternberger, one of the tight ends, for a 20-something yard gain, and that started to get the wheels rolling a little bit. He went 6 for 6 on the touchdown drive. Devin Funchess was big time. I think he certainly locked up a roster spot after that game. But Jordan Love certainly was 12 of 17, 122 yards, a touchdown. And I know he has the shoulder strain, so that's a tough because you can't see the edge rusher. I know you got to step up and get rid of the ball. I get it. Yeah. And once you take a 7 or 9 step drop from the shotgun, not great. He'll learn from that. But the play that's always a tough one when you're back. Sorry, my hand's disappearing. But like when your shoulder is back there and you think you're gonna throw it, but a guy comes in and like hits it and your arm still goes forward. That's going to hurt it. LaFleur said it's today. He didn't practice today, but it's the MRI came back clean, and I think they're going to take it easy with him. Who knows if he'll play against the Jets, but I think they're going to have to sign Matt Flynn. I really believe it. No, Matt Flynn did tweet that he was ready to go, and he would I think it's kind of as a joke, but I would love to see Matt Flynn step in again one more time for the Green Bay Packers. But
that would be funny if he did that all over again.
He made his. Okay, I think one of the greatest games of all time, Packers-Lions, 2011. It was the year the Packers went 15-1 after the Super Bowl run. Week 17, Rodgers doesn't play the starters. Yeah, Aaron is really the main starter that's not playing, and it's Matt Flynn's show because they don't really a winner doesn't really matter, and he goes off. I think it was maybe 450 yards or something and 6 touchdowns. And him and, Jordy Nelson went up against Stafford and Megatron, and they dueled in the snow. And that game made Matt Flynn's career because he got that major deal from the Seahawks. But then they drafted Russell Wilson that draft, and Wilson beat him out. So Matt Flynn got paid all that money to sit on the bench, which again, hey, all power, more power to him. Just doesn't have to get hurt and makes all that money. But yeah, that Matt Flynn is a classic Green Bay Packers quarterback for sure. But yeah, all in all, with Jordan Love, there's going to be mistakes, or there's going to be, things you can work on every single game. And he's no different, but certainly for his first game in 2 years in front of over 70,000 fans who, again, this is the guy everyone was talking about after the draft last year. Why did they move up to pick him? Why did they do this and that? And I thought he held together pretty well because he's a really great guy, great quarterback, great human being. And he's a young kid who's going to make some mistakes. But I think he held together pretty well. So
we'll see. You think he's going to dress this year?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, of course, as long as he's not hurt and anything like that. That I think is the most amazing part. They traded up to draft him in the first round. Didn't even dress. I don't think that's ever happened before.
Not one game.
But hey, I mean, it's not like they needed him, but they certainly, it's nice to see him, play, get warmed up, and kind of like, again, you can put that in the rear view mirror, that first game, kind of getting warmed up, and it is what it is. Of course, it didn't feel great to lose 26-7 to the worst team in the NFL, but it's okay. It's the preseason. It doesn't matter. Actually, the Houston Texans are a bit of, while we're on the subject, the Houston Texans are an interesting team because, yes, their franchise, they're poorly run, but their running back room they might have the best trio in the game. Not the best trio, like the best running back room. Philip Lindsay, who is the first undrafted rookie, I believe, to make a Pro Bowl when he was with Denver. Mark Ingram, a 3-time Pro Bowler, and David Johnson. At one point, David Johnson, I think a lot of people considered him to be the best running back in the game of football before he got hurt and everything happened. So their running back room is pretty good. And then the quarterbacks, you have Tyrod Taylor, who hopefully he can kind of find a home in Houston. You have Davis Mills, who was drafted out of Stanford, I believe, who people believe was kind of like a sleeper who could be a franchise quarterback somewhere. And then they drafted, they signed Ryan Finley, I believe, from the Bengals. Yes. Do you remember that Monday night game last year when it was Pittsburgh and Cincinnati took Pittsburgh to the woodshed? That was, and I looked at that game. It was kind of like what Heineke did to the Buccaneers. I thought after watching that game, like Ryan Finley can play. I'm surprised, I'm kind of surprised more teams out there who are looking for quarterbacks don't go out and just make a move. Because Ryan Finley against a divisional foe, the Steelers have run the division for a lot of years along with the Ravens. It's Monday Night Football. Everyone's watching, and he played pretty well. I don't remember the stats exactly, but he played pretty well. And so the Houston Texans went out and got him, and they just have a really interesting quarterback room, running back room. But they're not very good. They'll probably win 3 or 4 games, and that's that. But just an interesting kind of nugget, I think, with the Houston Texans. Of course, I forgot about Desean Watson. I don't know how I totally skipped over that entire thing without talking about Desean Watson.
Well, because nobody's talking about him. That's the hard part about it, is that nobody's talking about him because of his allegations right now. And so he's at practice, but he's not practicing, which is the tough part because we just don't know the situation that he's going to be in for this season, at least. I mean, there's still teams talking about trying to trade for him, stuff like that, but nobody's pulling the trigger because nobody knows what's going on with him. And so that's why he's.
Do you think they trade him? Do you think they trade him? Or you think it's weird? It's weird because he was at practice. It's like they're going about it like he's going to play.
Yeah, I don't know. But right now they have him as a 4th-string quarterback. It's not like he's number 1 and just not practicing. He's the legit 4th-string on their depth chart quarterback. And so we just kind of have to wait to see what these allegations turn into.
Yeah. Look, I've seen a lot of blue bloods. I've seen a lot of courtroom shows. I have no expertise though. So I don't even know why I brought that up, but I've seen court shows. So I could probably be a lawyer, but this is why, I'll stick to this. I can't be a lawyer. Trey Lance. Talk about Trey Lance. 5 of 14, 128 yards, 1 touchdown. I know he got sacked 4 times, and it was kind of like Love. Other than that one drive, other than that one big play, he kind of struggled. But he looked. I mean, I think
he can sling it.
Yeah. He threw
the ball pretty well. It's just the hard part is that he wasn't accurate all the time, and then he just tried fitting some passes where they didn't need to be put, and it just didn't go his way after that 80-yard touchdoom. So what was it, 128 yards or something like that?
Yeah,
and
on 5 completions.
And 80 of it was from one play. And so you have to take that into consideration. All right, so we see 5 for 128. All right, what's this long? 80. Now what's the rest? Now we're working with 44 yards. That's basically 11 yards per attempt, which is pretty good. I mean, it's a pretty good number to have, but at the same time, you're still 5 of 14. You weren't playing off these other numbers where you're, at least 9 of 14, 10 of 14. And adding more yards and stuff like that. So
he certainly looks like. Sorry, I keep interrupting you. I try to judge when you're gonna finish. So just shot out of a cannon. I'll let you finish though. I'll just sit back and sit quietly.
No, I was gonna say that I feel like he
Damn it! I stopped your train of thought, didn't I?
Yeah. No, but I got it back. No, he definitely looks solid, but he's definitely got a lot more to improve upon. And Jimmy G going 3 for 3, I think, definitely solidified that week 1 start for him. So we'll just have to see what these next 2 preseason games are what they bring, because we don't really know officially what they 100% are.
Yeah,
quite yet. So.
Trey Lance looks, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Cam Newton body type wise. He's a big guy. He can sling it. From what I understand, he's a gym rat. He loves tape. He loves looking at, what have I done wrong? What have I done right? He's going to overtake Jimmy G at some point, I think. They're going to look, this is a tough division. They're going to stick with Jimmy G for the beginning of the season anyway. What does worry me? I know you picked the Niners to finish second in the division. Still crazy. But I think Saleh and Sherman, I think those are the 2 biggest losses. And where Trey Lance comes in here, the season, the hopes for the 49ers this year hinge on Kyle Shanahan's creativity, because they don't have some big time star receiver. All right, you have Deebo Samuel, who is a great, jet sweep kind of player. He's great in the slot. He's shifty. He's quick. I get it. Kittle is obviously a top 3 tight end. We know about George Kittle, obviously, and we know they can run the football. And look, they got to the Super Bowl 2 years ago with Jimmy Garoppolo throwing the ball 0 times. Threw it 5, but whatever. So I think that Shanahan's going to have to be creative. I know the defense will be good because it's the same, you'd have to think the same coaching staff that was there while Saleh was the DC, can manage things, and they should be a top 10 defense with Nick Bosa, with Fred Warner. They should figure it out. The offense though has to be creative. They have great, Ayuk, Samuel, Kittle, Raheem Mostert. No, okay, it's Raheem Mostert. But I always see an account on Instagram called Raheem Mustard, and I don't know, it has a couple thousand followers or whatever. So I don't know why that's a thing, but I think there's an Instagram page where it's a knock. Well, no, it's it's making fun of players' names, but I can't like Mr. Rogers, Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. It's just that kind of thing. So I don't know why I brought up Raheem Mustard at all. I just thought it'd be funny if I thought people would think that's funny, but it's not. We have no graphics, so I can't really show it, but whatever. Lost my train of thought. No, the Niners. So with Trey Lance and stuff like that, it's kind of like we talked about this before, but it's kind of like the Chicago Bears and Fields and Dalton, except I think the Niners are farther along. That's why they're going to stick with Garoppolo as the veteran.
Yep.
And they're going to have to lean on that defense. But he certainly showed his big playability. He has a rocket of an arm. It'll be Trey area soon enough. But I think for now they'll stick with Jimmy Garoppolo, and they're going to lean on the run game and play great defense, because they're 22-8 with Garoppolo as the starter, so they're doing something right. I think Garoppolo is not the reason, though. It's been the defense. It's been Shanahan's creativity.
I'd say that's true. I can't go against the fact that they're kind of like in the Bears situation where the defense has definitely held up the majority of the problems for what the offense is lacking. And so once they take care of that offensive problem, I feel like both teams can definitely make that push. But I have to see more from Trey Lance in order to back him a little bit more. Now, he's definitely not bad. But I feel like he definitely has a little bit more to improve to show that he can be QB1 for the San Francisco 49ers.
He's certainly the guy. I mean, he's certainly like the fact, like people out there cannot say like, oh, well, he's not going to be the guy. Well, you used a top 10 pick on him. So he's going to be the guy eventually. So that'll be interesting to watch for sure, especially in a competitive division. I mean, I don't know when he'll start. I think he'll overtake Garoppolo at some point, but I don't know, because they should be good. They're a physical team. They're tough, and they run the ball very well, and they have a good offensive coach. But I don't know. We're just gonna have to see what happens. That's the best division in football. I don't think there's a question. I know you can talk about the AFC North or any other divisions, but I think it's the West is the toughest for sure. What other quarterbacks played? Did you catch any of Zack Wilson at all?
I caught his highlights. Yeah, I mean, he looked pretty good, but 6 of 9 for 63 yards.
6 of 9 is like, oh yeah, I'm 4 of 7, or it's like, yeah, I'm 10 of 19. It's like that. It's like, okay, yeah, you're over 50%. Solid job.
They got the ball out of his hands pretty early, and just early on, they got the ball out of his hands just right away, and just let the receivers do the work. But then he made a couple throws in his second, third drives that looked pretty decent. So it's a small sample size, can't really tell too much off of it, but I mean, he looked pretty good. He got the swagger out there, he's feeling confident.
Yeah, I'm interested to see when he takes a hit. I didn't catch it. Did he take any hits? I mean, I don't.
I didn't see if he took any hits. I know he didn't have any sacks against him, so he definitely didn't have a major hit.
Yeah. So, when he takes a big, I mean, people worried about, Russell Wilson taking a big hit, or possibly, Drew Brees has taken hits before. Smaller guys, if he takes a big hit, man, he got to be careful. The Jets better have someone ready just in case he gets injured. Because he's, not the biggest guy, but he can certainly sling it for sure. It's going to be interesting to see. They play there's joint practices this week in Green Bay. It's Jets and Packers. And I believe it was last season, Aaron Rodgers talked about swagger, the idea of swagger on the Pat McAfee show. And it's not like what you're wearing, like walking with your shoes untied, or, you're wearing a backpack or something like that. It's kind of just about your mentality. I think it was Zack Wilson, he said, took a shot at him. I think it was, on Twitter or something, or I don't know, on social media, about his swagger, not what he was wearing. And I'm interested to see what they say to each other, because I'm sure Zack Wilson might be regretting his words, because they'll be staring down the 3-time MVP, future Hall of Famer, first ballot, that kind of thing. That'll be an interesting development this week for sure. So we'll see. Are you a fan of joint practices, by the way?
I do like joint practices because it adds a different dimension to just practicing with your own team, especially since it's been the long off season. And now all you're doing is just basically practicing with your own team. And, you can start creating some really like go at each other types of guys where, offense is going to turn on defense is going to turn on offense. I mean, I don't say that happens, but
yeah,
with only being with your guys for this amount of time, I mean, it you start to get annoyed of everybody, and just you learn those little quirks that just can turn somebody the wrong way. I mean, so joint practices, it definitely helps with just being around some other guys and then being with your guys and being able to laugh with your guys at the other guys that just came in trying to use your facility.
Yeah. So, it's hilarious. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see. Well, Aaron has said multiple times he does not like joint practices because emotions sometimes run a little bit high, and you've seen a ton of fights over the years and stuff like that. And hopefully that doesn't happen in Green Bay, but they're doing this because Robert Saleh and Matt LaFleur are like great friends. I think Saleh was in LaFleur's wedding or vice versa. I don't know, but like they're close friends. And it's going to be interesting to see, again, if emotions run high or not. But this is for like starters like Aaron Rodgers. Like this is, this is his tune-up, joint practice. He's not going to play in the games. This is kind of his joint practice, and playing against another team. It's again, you're right. It's great competition, and it's nice to see someone else. But it's going to be interesting to see, how they play and what it's like. Because again, sometimes emotions run high, fights happen. It's great for social media. Like I'm all in for fights and whatever. But if I want to watch a fight, I'll turn on the UFC or you know what? I'll turn on John Cena because John Cena's back in the WWE. Perfect. I'm so the only thing we need now is the Undertaker to return. That would be perfect in a casket.
That would be a great time
in a casket. Because those are the most electrifying, horrifying entrances. Like when they would, like whatever his followers or whatever would walk out with torches, and he would be like, oh, like that kind of thing, and interesting stuff. But roll out the casket. The casket would be great. Are you a WWE fan?
I used to be when I was younger.
Yeah. Who was your favorite shows? You went to a couple. You went to a couple shows.
Yeah. When I was younger.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Who was your favorite?
I loved Rey Mysterio.
Oh yes. Me too.
Him. So Rey Mysterio, and then what's his name though? The little leprechaun, little short guy, the midget.
You can't say that word. You can't say that word now.
Sorry, the small person.
Wwe Man. Right, from Jackass.
No.
I don't know what the leprechaun's. I think that's who. I don't know what the leprechaun's name was.
I'm going to my phone.
Great. This will give me time to catch up on my notifications.
Hornswoggle.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's great. But now you have me thinking about you. You saw Jackass, right? You've seen Jackass.
Yeah.
Like, when Wwe Man and Preston would like run around a foreign town or wherever, like naked, or like they would be chasing after each other. That's good.
Yes.
But dude, every time Rey Mysterio would hit the 619, it would be crazy, man. That's the one move where it's just like, yeah. I mean, that's that or the John Cena, the five knuckle.
You can't see me.
Yeah, that's perfect. What are we talking about? Oh, the NFL.
But to get back to quarterback play, you see the Raiders?
No, I did not catch the Seahawks-Raiders game. What happened?
Your boy Nathan Peterman.
Why is he my boy?
He played the entire game.
He did? Well, do they have another quarterback? Well, Mariota.
Mariota's hurt, I guess. I don't know
okay.
I don't think he's fully hurt, but he didn't play. Peterman was the only one that played. 29 of 39 for 246 yards.
Okay.
And they won the game 20-7.
I hate like social media or like just everyone who goes off on players when they have okay, Nathan Peterman had one of the worst games in NFL history, right? Or a couple games, whatever it was. He threw 6 picks and a half or something terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate when people do this. Like you go out there in that position, and I'm sure, okay, yeah, you could probably do better. But just lay off the guy, all right? Like I'm sure he knows he had a terrible game. Like get off of it. I mean, it's like when the Packers lost to the Colts, I'll bring it back to my team. When they lost to the Colts and he fumbled in overtime, pretty sure he got death threats. And I'm sorry. Like I'm sure he's terribly sorry that he ruined your Sunday. All right, the fact that he fumbled and lost his team the game. I'm sorry that you feel terrible, but how do you think he feels? Just like I hate that. I hate when people are like that. It's like, well, these are professional athletes. They're putting their bodies on the line each week. They're getting hurt each week, and it's all for a Super Bowl, or it's all for a chance to try and be something in this life. So I just can't stand it when people are like, this guy sucks, or I want Nathan Peterman as my quarterback because they're doing it as a joke. Like it's funny, but I just don't like that. I don't know.
Yeah. He definitely has not performed too well in the games that have mattered so far. So
yeah, no, I believe that. Yeah, he's not the best, but hey, still trying. Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence was there too. I think he had kind of like a Zack Wilson type of game. I know he made some plays.
They got the ball out of his hands pretty quick early on just to get him in a groove, and then he opened it up for a couple of throws.
Yeah. Did you see the Tebow block? The Tebow block? I think people are going. That's another thing. Okay, he sealed the edge. Yes, he whiffed on the block, but he sealed the edge. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what he was supposed to do in that situation, and he did. Like, am I wrong in that? Like, I know he whiffed, and I know he's in Jacksonville because he's a leader, his competitiveness, and he's obviously he knows Urban Meyer better than anyone. And he might not be he's sort of an interesting like type of player because he was a quarterback and he played baseball, all that stuff. But he set the edge in that instance. Am I right?
You're right, but at the same time, he's got to learn to actually make that block in case the running back doesn't have that gap and has to cut back. Then he's screwed.
No, yeah, so, no doubt. It's like the Nathan Peterman thing. It's like, okay, work on your form, or like work on whatever you need to work on to be great. But at the same time, he did what he was supposed to do. Just do it better. Yeah. So we're missing another quarterback.
No, that's about all of them, I think.
Pretty much. Fields, Love, who's not a rookie, but Fields, Love, Trevor Lawrence, Zack Wilson, Trey Lance. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
If we're missing someone, we apologize.
Did you see Pat Surtain take the pick six?
The pick six. House? I think that was I think I saw a tweet from a Cowboys fan, or saying like, hey, I love Micah Parsons. I'm so happy we have him. But boy, that Micah that Pat Surtain interception hurts. Like, because I think there was talk of them possibly drafting him.
Yep.
He's going to be a stud man. You have him alongside a pro like Kyle Fuller and the Vic Fangio defense. I mean, studs. I mean, I think there's always excitement around a first round quarterback or a first round skill position player. I think on defense, I'm fired up to have a number one corner, like drafting a rookie. I thought, that's
down corner.
Yeah. Like when the Packers drafted Jair Alexander, I didn't know a ton about him because, I know he played at Louisville. It's a big-ish college football school. And I didn't know much about him though. But he certainly proved to be the guy, and Surtain certainly seems like that, especially playing in the SEC. Like, you're going to get tested every week. And again, against a team like, well, I can't say against a team like the Vikings because I don't know if they started, I don't know if they started Justin Jefferson or not, but certainly in your first NFL game, you want to show out. He certainly showed out. And again, Vic Fangio has a great history of working with pretty solid cornerbacks, and in Kyle Fuller. In San Francisco, he had a lot of great defenses. I mean, defensive backs, not just cornerbacks. I mean, Dante Whitner, and I think Antoine Bethea was possibly there as well. I'm forgetting some guys probably, but was he there? I don't know. Was he in Chicago with Tim Jennings and Charles Tillman, or no? Was that he was? Possibly,
or maybe before Tim Jennings. Okay, he was definitely there with Tim Jennings. I don't know about Peanut. but
yeah, maybe before. But he has a history of working with, again, cornerback, safety. He's a defensive coordinator, but just he has pretty solid history with working with DBs. So he's, Surtain's going to be solid. And I'm banking Denver. I mean, Drew Locke. He was locked in. He was 5 for 7 for 160 something yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, I'm pretty sure he stole the nuclear launch codes, but he fired a rocket to KJ Hamler, I think, and the camera couldn't even catch up to the play. But that was solid. And from what I understand, he's ahead of Teddy Bridgewater in the quarterback race, which, again, I mean, hey, he showed out. Again, I was pulling for Bridgewater. I thought Bridgewater was the better quarterback. I guess Drew Locke, so far, I know it's only one game, but he's playing well.
Yeah. I mean, like everybody else, it's still only the first preseason game.
Yeah.
We do have to stress that it is preseason.
Yeah.
Not going up against the number ones the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to take that into consideration. But I mean, hey, everybody's a professional for a reason there. So
yeah.
You and I aren't there for a specific reason.
Not yet.
Yeah, you wish.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I can throw a football over the mountains. Wait, there you go. Uncle Rico.
Right.
It's a great movie. You want to talk fantasy? Should we talk fantasy football?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really have anything planned because this is a free balling show. Okay, here's what I'll say.
You gonna give away too much before the draft tomorrow?
I'm not. Okay, for those that don't know, Travis, myself, and a bunch of our buddies are going to be in a fantasy football league, and it's usually me or Travis every year that wins because we're kind of the experts. Unfortunately, I do not think we're in the same division though, which is good. So we'll be able to kind of meet each other, hopefully, on the other side. But last year, what was our trade? Who did I trade you?
It was
it was bad. I gave
you Rodgers and Kelsey, and you gave me Kittle, Diggs, and
Russ. It was Russell. You gave
me a running back.
You had another quarterback.
You gave me another running back because I didn't want a quarterback because I had Pat Mahomes for the rest of the season, which is why I traded you Aaron Rodgers.
Classic.
Yeah.
The Diggs part is the part that hurts. Like, it's not.
I got David Montgomery back.
Okay, that's what it was. See that when it helps. Well, actually, fantasy is tough when you're dealing with like your favorite teams. Like, I think I had a couple of years ago when the Packers went 6-9-1. It was that game against the Rams. I had Todd Gurley playing. I had Todd Gurley on my team. I was like, I don't want to play Todd Gurley. Like, I don't want, because you want to root for your team, but at the same time, you have him. So you just have to do it. And when you're playing, you have David Montgomery, it's like, okay, well, let's, I'm trading away a Packer player and I'm getting a Bear player. That works.
Yeah.
But that's fantasy is, it's not for everyone. It's not for the faint-hearted. In the words of Dumbledore. But I lost to you. I ended up losing to you in the semifinals.
Diggs helped.
Damn it.
Montgomery started going. That's when the Bears started running the ball again.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Pat Mahomes does his stuff. Alvin Kamara has his 6th touchdown game. It was a good time.
Yep. Yeah. Must have been really fun. Must have been great for you. I got to watch from the sidelines. That was fantastic. Okay. What player? Who is the non-quarterback you want to take the most in the draft, is what I'll say. Now, non-quarterback.
If healthy, McCaffrey.
That's the thing for me. For those that are watching, listen to my tips for fantasy football. Number 1, do not draft a player coming off of an injured season. McCaffrey is an example. Look, we don't know what's going to happen, but last year he was, injury riddled. And if he has a great season, fantastic. All right. I think he will, but stick with the guys who are healthy. And Alvin Kamara, a Derrick Henry. I think Alvin Kamara is actually the best running back, the best all-purpose back, all-purpose offensive player in the game. I firmly believe that. So that's a player I would consider taking over McCaffrey, a Derrick Henry possibly. Also, I stay away
Dalvin
from
Cook.
player. Yes. Oh, he tore the Packers a new one last year. I saw it happen. My own eyes. It was sad. But he's a rushing machine. So keep an eye out for him as well. I would also say don't draft players going to a new team. I actually think I ended up drafting DeAndre Hopkins last year, so I kind of went against my own morals there. But you never know what's going to happen with a new team. I mean, people got excited when Jimmy Graham.
That's questionable, though. I wouldn't say that one as much. I'd say be questionable more of the injury stuff, but not going to a new team, because that could only like in Stephon Diggs' case. I mean, he only got better.
It worked. Same with Hopkins. I know it worked. I just of course, I'm speaking from personal experience, but when Jimmy Graham came from Seattle to Green Bay, I was excited. I was thrilled. It's like, okay, we're getting the New Orleans Saints, Jimmy Graham. Like, we're getting that kind of version of him. Now, I mean, he was mediocre. He was fine. He wasn't great. So that's one example. But yeah, I stay away from that only because you never know. Like, I don't know, it's stuff like, going to or moving to a new place, going to a new grocery store, stuff like that, like minuscule stuff like that, maybe translates to the football field. That's probably too particular, but that's kind of how I look at things. Like, you never know if a guy's psyche is going to be messed up because if he goes to a new place or something like that. That's kind of how I look at it. That's might be too specific, but I'd rather stick with Davante Adams, who's been in Green Bay for 7 years. I'd rather stick with Kamara, who's been in New Orleans for his entire young career so far. That's smarter for me, I guess. So I guess don't stay away from guys going to a new team, but focus more on the guys who've been with the team for a long time, who've produced, I guess, would be my perspective, though, for sure.
Yeah. And I'm more, unless it's Davante Adams or DeAndre Hopkins, where they're going to catch 10 balls a game.
Yeah.
I try and go with a running back pretty much as soon as I can, because there's limited options.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be smart, especially since there's a lot of committees. So if you get that Dalvin Cook or that Derrick Henry, I mean, you're going to get. It's like tight ends. If you think that you can get Kelsey, Kittle, or Waller right away, I mean, I wouldn't say right away. I'd say probably second, third round, somewhere in there, depending on who you're drafting. And that's the other thing. You have to know who you're drafting against, and you got to know what other people like, and pick up on tendencies, and just follow the flow of how the draft is going.
Yeah, I would say, well, just a tip before your draft, if you're seriously competitive like I am and I want to win, like, do like a practice. If it's ESPN, I'm sure the NFL.com does that too. Do like a practice mock draft. If your league is of 10 people, do a practice 10 mock draft. I'm sure they offer them at ESPN. I don't know what it's like at the NFL on NFL.com, but do a practice one. Most people do it, like, the other teams are on buys, so it's not necessarily or they're on auto draft, so it's not like they're paying attention. But that always helps. Write down players who could be gems, like later on, like Jared Cook, for example. Like, when he was in New Orleans, I thought with Drew Brees, I thought he'd be special. He wasn't he wasn't terribly great. But it's just like late round players like that who could be helpful later on. A guy like, again, I'll keep my eye on him, Jamal Williams, former Packer, of course, going to Detroit. Who is their starting running back? I mean, do you know? It's either him or DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I was going to say
that's a committee.
That's going to be kind of like what happened with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams in Green Bay. So
that's more of like, he's more of like a late round player. Like, if you find him, I mean, he could be big time. You never know. But he got some carries in the preseason game for sure, as well as DeAndre Swift. So it's important to keep an eye out, like make notes to yourself, like do a couple mock drafts, make some notes to yourself. I do that. More often than not, it comes through for me, unless I make a trade where I end up trading Stephon Diggs to another team that will remain nameless. But yeah, that's important. I would suggest doing mock drafts beforehand. And again, for all of the league managers out there who are controlling the league, do a snake draft. Unless you're going to go out and whatever, go to Buffalo Wild Wings, do a whatever the live draft or whatever it is. Like that's fun. But if you're doing an online draft, keep it simple. Do the snake draft. All right, the snake draft is simple. It's fun, and it's easy. That message was brought to you by Ameritrade or whatever, TD Ameritrade or Allstate or whatever. That just seems like something they say in the commercials. I don't know. But yeah, snake drafts are the best for sure.
Yeah, I snake or auction drafts.
Yeah.
I mean, that also comes with who are you drafting with.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be, you have to know the people that you're drafting with in order to do a true auction draft. Like it's people that, all right, we got this amount of money and here's the lineup that you can have. Now go do the auction, right? You can't just kind of wing an auction draft and just be like, all right, I'm going to spend $500 on Aaron Rodgers and then be able to spend another like 500 on a say Dalvin Cook and then try and spend another 500 on somebody else. And it's you just you have to have a set amount to the point where it's going to be true to what their value is actually worth.
I'm just making notes about you. Doesn't like snake draft, prefers auction draft. Okay, we'll do a snake draft. Here's no,
I like snake drafts. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's fantastic. So what else we talk about? No, we're still doing fantasy. No, I got nothing else. No, I'm kidding. I always have stuff. I always have stuff prepared.
You just don't want to give away too many of your secrets.
No, I don't want to give away too many of my secrets. I mean, look, don't take a quarterback too early. I mean, the earliest I'd say fourth round, maybe, unless it's Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers. That's it. That's wait till later on. And again, I would say probably the position that is the weakest is the tight end position. I would say. I know the running backs, slim pickings too. Tight ends though, other than Kelsey, Waller, Ertz, a guy like Evan Ingram possibly, or a Tunyon, maybe a Jonnu Smith possibly. I don't know. I'm probably missing some guys, but like a Jimmy Graham who got 10 touchdowns. He was great last year, but pay attention to the tight ends. And if you're at the back end of the draft, if you have, like say you're in a 10-team league and it's a snake draft and you have back-to-back picks, pick a running back and maybe pick a tight end. That could be something. Or hey, it might be attractive too. Maybe you pick back-to-back receivers, a Hopkins and a Diggs or something. Like maybe that's something. So there are a lot of ways you could go. It all depends on how many teams are in your league. Because if you're in a 16-team league, like I am with my family, and you have the number 1 overall pick and you have to wait until the 32nd pick, you gotta, dig deep down into your fantasy football genius, and you've gotta find guys who are gonna produce. And you just gotta be careful. I would say, what would you say is say you're in a 12-team league, what do you think? Yeah, what do you think? What position do you want to be drafted? Like, where do you pray that the computer puts you in?
Back end. So 12 team, I'd say probably 8, 9, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
That way you still get kind of that high end, but then you also get that turnaround where you get that second high end guy.
I love the turnaround, the classic turnaround. You get late round, in a 10-team league or something, pick 9, you turn around. I'm picking at pick 13, or but if you're picking number 1, it's Okay, so I have to wait until the 20th pick. Great. I'll sit back and relax. It's
So
tough.
people get excited about it, but then you're like, all right, so I'll probably get the best player, but then these other
He's
people
gone.
are going to get two players that
Yep.
are just going to overvalue this one player that I just got. I mean, you got to be smart with how you're going to manage it.
I can just picture myself or you on draft night, like, okay, all right, so Darren Waller right there, good, okay, so I'm gonna draft him when he comes up. Okay, he's not gonna take him, good. He's on auto draft, good. No, like just freaking out after you're hoping.
We always
that's what
do
happens.
it. We always do it to each other.
Someone's gonna take Aaron Rodgers, and I'm gonna explode. Like because that's the thing. Because I know people are gonna do it to piss me off. Like I might take him early on. We'll see what happens. He was the MVP last year. You never know. I mean, if he makes plays, where's my hand? If he makes plays like this play behind me, there's reason to draft him. Well, how much time we got? We got 10 minutes probably.
Something like that.
See anything cool on Netflix?
I just got done watching Friday Night Lights all over again.
Believe it or not, I've never seen Friday Night Lights.
Really?
It's a little corny. Me. You know how much I love movies and TV shows and stuff like that. I've never seen Friday Night Lights. Like, there's a movie and there's a show, right?
Yeah.
Is it the same thing? Is one live?
Not really.
And one's not? Or like is one like real people?
Yeah. Real, so the movie's like the movies. So it's not real people, but it's based off of what actually happened. And the show is just kind of the show. So, I mean, the show is kind of corny in different ways of, the coach speaks and then goes to players' houses whenever there's a problem. And you always get we're happy at the beginning. Oh, then it falls to the something always happens. And then they find a way back to it in the end
every movie.
For about 85% of the episodes. So
find me a movie where it's like find me a movie that does not have like something bad happen 2/3 of the way in, and then at the end the protagonist saves the day. It's just how it works.
Yeah, it's the only way to keep the movie going, I guess, because you always have to have that one little part that brings it all back together.
Oh yeah, some great come together moment. It's the best. Did you see you saw The Last Dance, right? I know that was last year, but fantastic. That's the best documentary I've ever seen, no question. That nothing will beat that. I've watched it a lot of times over. I'm going to continue to watch it a lot of times over. For those that have not seen The Last Dance, please watch it. There's also a Malice at the Palace doc. You hear about that one?
I did hear about that.
I might check that out. Could be interesting.
That's the Ron Artest Meta World Peace.
That Ron Artest. Yeah. I'm one of those people. I love looking at teams like the 2004 Pacers. Like Reggie Miller was still on that team in 2004. Like it's amazing. I love looking at players and thinking, whoa, like they're still on that team. Like they were like, I mean, Tracy McGrady was on the Spurs, at the end of his career. Like I love looking at players who were on, random teams. Like Terrell Owens was on the Seattle Seahawks in the preseason, I think, at the end of his career. Like I think Russell Wilson was throwing the ball to Terrell Owens. It's like, how does that stuff? It's crazy. You think about these players and, where like Vince Young was playing for the Packers in the preseason. Like that stuff, it's crazy when you see that stuff. But that was cool to see. I think Reggie Miller and kind of on that team so late was pretty interesting. But that whole thing, the Malice at the Palace, I mean, not the best showing for the Detroit fans and for the Pacers.
Did you see the Bad Boys documentary, the 30 for 30?
They're making one of those. They're just trying to rebound after losing out to
Have
Mike.
you seen it?
No, I haven't. But
they've already made it. That came out a few years ago.
Oh! I know what you're talking about.
The Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, no, I remember the guy, the ESPN voice guy, like, what if I told you? But like, I remember that. I didn't watch it, I don't think, but I remember, it was out.
You should watch it. That's a pretty good one. I
Okay.
enjoyed that one.
Yeah, yeah. I would say The Last Dance was great because it was unfiltered. I mean, it was perfect, unvarnished. I mean, the scene when Michael Jordan hits the shot against Cleveland, and he's like, get the F out of here, like, just like stuff like that, and it's all his emotions and stuff like that, and that was a great documentary. You should check out. Do you enjoy comedy?
I love comedy.
Okay, you watch Seinfeld?
I've watched a couple episodes. I really haven't watched Seinfeld too much.
Yeah, no, you should watch. You ever heard of Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee?
Yes.
Great. That is a great show. Number one, because I love when they cut to pouring the coffee because it's so satisfying. But like, it's funny because Jerry Seinfeld, with these all-time great comedians, Steve Martin, Steve Harvey, Martin Short,
Yeah.
Ellen, or whoever, Bill Burr, whatever, when he's on, like, they make the funny or they make even the darkest things funny, like normal conversation.
Yes.
Like, I think they talk about with Steve Martin, there's a scene when he talks about one random comedian, I don't know his name, was doing a show in Boston, and in the hotel room or the hotel lobby or wherever they could see they could see out to the harbor, and they could see out to the pier, and this guy in a wheelchair, so the day before he had committed suicide. He had wheeled off the pier and it's not funny, but he had wheeled off the pier and died and drowned. And so while the day after, while he was doing his comedy routine, they got a crane to pull the guy who was dead in the wheelchair out of the water. And they're just talking about it. And it's like, how does the guy rebound after that comedy show? Like, that's going on behind him while he's doing it. It's like, hey, well, at least I wasn't in the wheelchair, like
Yeah.
it's stuff like that where it's like they're talking about something so horrible like a suicide, and they make it funny. Not it funny, but they talk about it in a funny light.
Yes.
And it's even that. It's the simple thoughts that Seinfeld brings to the show, and the cars. I mean, every episode they talk about like the
They're
cars.
all vintage cars.
Yeah, and they compare it to the comedian. Like, they talk about, with Will Ferrell, they talk about the car, and then I think Seinfeld's meeting him at some park or something near a school, and Will Ferrell walks up and he's like, "Hi, little boy," or whatever. Something like that. Something creepy. And Seinfeld's like, "Oh, do you have any candy?" or something like that. That's funny. Like, that's comedy and stuff like that. And they go over, comedy tips and stories, and they exchange information. It's that kind of stuff. It's really interesting. I'd recommend that. Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
Yes.
What else? I don't know. Rudy. I watched Rudy last night. Great movie.
That's a great movie.
Quality.
That's just a classic.
Never give up. Never give up. It's just that's how it is. I mean, you don't. He didn't want to work in the steel mill, or he didn't. Who wants to work in a steel mill for their life? Sorry, no disrespect to people out there who work in steel mills, but who, you have a dream, go chase it. Go do it. And he wanted to, as a kid, people laughed at him because he said he wanted to go play football at Notre Dame. He did it. And he worked his ass off, and that's a great, fantastic story for sure. I don't know.
Have you seen Invincible?
Vintage Vince Papali. Yes, I have.
Yeah.
That's a great. Yeah, that's how people special teams. That's how you make a roster. He made it on special teams. But classic Mark Wahlberg. Great story. Remember the Titans is a classic. Remember the Titans. There's sports movies. We Field of Dreams. We saw that with they played in Iowa. Classic. Angels in the Outfield. Yeah. Angels in the Outfield. I watched that a few times this summer with my family. It's so great. I mean, the story, there are a lot of funny scenes in it, but it's a great story because it's about believing in something that a lot of people, it's easy to laugh at or kind of easy to kind of just push under the carpet, like, oh, haha, whatever, that's not real or whatever. But it's just a great story. Classic Danny Glover, classic Tony Danza, classic Matthew McConaughey playing center field for the California Angels. Great stuff. That's a great movie. I'd recommend that for sure.
Coach Carter.
Oh yeah. Samuel L. Jackson.
Great
Channing
movie.
Tatum. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. That's a great quote.
What's
a rookie or wait, what's the movie to Henry Rowan Gardner? Rookie of the Year. Yeah, I remember. All I can picture is John Candy calling games for the Cubs. Rosenberger instead of Rowan Gardner. That's good.
Major League.
Oh, Sheen.
Great movie.
The very best of Lou Brown. That's funny. What does he say? When Willie Mays Hayes is taking batting practice or whatever, and he's just like hitting him up into the cage, and he's like, hey, you may run like Mays, but you hit like shit or whatever.
Yeah.
Classic.
Every time he pops up, he owes him 20 push-ups. And the first game, he pops up and he just gets right down those 20 push-ups instead of running.
Doesn't he start off the season with a hit and then gets picked off at first base or something?
Yeah.
And then he calls his shot in one game. He calls his shot repeatedly, and he keeps getting robbed. Remember that? Yeah. I think that's what happens. And then he catches like a fly ball like this. And the coach is like, when he gets in the dugout, nice catch, Hayes. Don't ever, frickin' do it again or whatever. But that's a funny movie. Semi-Pro. Have that recorded. Semi-Pro's hilarious. I've always imagined myself like in the NBA Finals or something serious, like playing like center or power forward, and the point guard giving me the ball and then passing it back out and then giving it back to me, passing it back out, back to me, like just as a joke. That's a great comedy movie. What is his name that's in it? Woody Harrelson. Yep. That's good too. So basically, in totality, sports movies, go watch them. Go watch documentaries. Go watch Netflix. Go watch Disney Plus. Watch it all. Go watch The Mandalorian. Go watch that. Star Wars is great. Disney Plus has it all. I love it. Just getting into Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
That's another one where I've seen bits and pieces.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's a pretty good
funny.
show. It's funny. It's a pretty good show.
It's a classic NBC comedy, thing. So all in all, I'll work on not interrupting you. I'll try to do that. I'm trying to talk as much. And then fantasy football. Get ready. That's tomorrow. People, viewers out there, you can't watch us. Well, you could. No, I'm not. We could go on Instagram live while we're no. Okay. All right.
Because then we're showing our screens. That's just bad.
Pretty much. You're pretty much. Yeah. That is true. We could trash talk each other. That'd be perfect. But yeah, it's pretty much it. See you later. What are we going to talk about later on? Or what are we going to talk about next show? It's a surprise.
Surprise.
Yeah, we're not going to let people know. Yeah.
Not too many secrets.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I have to go have egg salad. That's what I'm having for dinner tonight. So luckily we don't live
pizza.
In this... Oh, okay. Well, okay. At least your bowels aren't going to explode like mine later on. I'll have the plunger ready.
I'm eating healthy.
Yeah, that's smart. I mean, well, okay. Like
it's not healthy.
No, it's not. But like at least you'll be able to keep your gas under control. Mine's gonna freaking
skyrocket.
Send me to the stratosphere. All right, I'll let you go. More preseason coming up. We'll talk more about movies and Rudy and means and cars later on. All right, buddy.
Yes, sir. All right.
Sunnyvale out. Sunnyvale out.